Hello, friends. Welcome back to Saturday Evenings Posted Mostly. Welcome back to Sunday Shenanigans with me, your host, Trevor Stewart, 1308.
Okay.
Wrong show. We're here with Kat, the ASOC Prod, and the Peanut Gallery. Hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
Yeah, wrong show, wrong show. It's yeah, we're a little we're a little frazzled,
Discombobulated.
discombobulated today. It's been a heck of a week, you know. Today's pre-rolls brought to you by the Hidden Leaf, downtown Charlottesville, Virginia, on the Downtown Mall, 105 West Main Street, above the bricks, Suite 200, between the Green Cauldron and Hamilton's. A great place to go with some great buds to get some great buds. A bud, and the only thing better than their bud is their customer service. And they have the lowest prices in town, according to my own highly biased research, by which I mean I was incredibly high when I did my bias research. Don't forget to check the website for times and events. The website is thehiddenleafcville.com. That's thehiddenleafcville.com. A note of disclosure, we are an opinionated bunch of people, and we will be covering fraught topics, if you will. And so I would like to point out that all of the opinions you hear today are either ours, the channel's, or belong to the expresser of the opinion, but do not necessarily belong to any of our sponsors, including the Hidden Leaf, the Kush Gang, purveyors of fine edibles and drinkables, and Firehouse Craft Farms. Yep, that's the ad read for today. Pardon me. Ugh.
You say Firehouse Craft Farms, and when you say craft, all I can think is Kraft macaroni and weed.
It's the
That works
creamiest, the
too.
cheesiest. So, I don't know if you remember, but that the creamiest and cheesiest Kraft macaroni and cheese commercial with the saxophone, right? You remember the saxophone riff in that commercial?
Vaguely.
It is a very common saxophone riff, I think. And I have heard it. I know I've heard it in at least one Bruce Springsteen song. That's neither here nor there. I'm just saying every time I hear the saxophone from that commercial, I think of Bruce Springsteen.
Fair enough.
Or every time you hear it in that song, you think of Kraft macaroni and cheese.
Also fair.
Yeah. All right. So we are today gonna be playing along with Wait, don't tell me on NPR, and today's special guest for Not My Job is Jim Rice.
Hmm.
So this should be interesting. Without further ado, let us get into it. Y'all got your pencils and your paper ready? Everybody ready to play?
Nope.
All
Close
right.
enough.
Everybody clicked on the icons?
Think so.
Earth Initiative. They have partnered with the Arbor Day Foundation and will distribute over 100,000
Audio's
trees this
on,
year,
everything's
growing
on.
greener, healthier communities for generations to come. Subaru, more than a car company.
Which comes from NPR sponsor Sierra. Business connections start.
Verity.
From NPR and WBEZ Chicago, this is Wait, Don't Tell Me, the NPR News Quiz. Do I smell clam chowder? No, it's just my rich and creamy voice.
Really?
I'm Bill Curtis, and here is your host at the Vox Center Wang Theater in Boston, Massachusetts, Peter Stegall.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Boston. It's great to be back. We have a great show for you today. Later on, we're going to be joined by baseball legend Jim Rice. Yes, 50 years after he helped lead the Boston Red Sox to the World Series as a rookie, he now offers TV commentary on the current team. So just to be fair, we're going to have the Red Sox starting infield to join us to critique his performance after he plays Not My Job. But first, it is your turn to swing for the fences. Give us a call to play our games. The number is 1-888-WAIT-WAIT. That's 1-888-924-8924. Hi, you're on Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me.
Hi, my name's Jennifer, and I'm in Kansas City, Missouri.
Kansas City, we love it there. What do you do there?
I was the assistant director at a public library.
Yes, public librarians. The true badasses that we need. That's a great thing to do. You guys are under a lot of pressure, but I've never met a librarian who wilted under that kind of assault.
No, we've been pretty strong. It's all right.
Well, welcome to the show, Jennifer. Let me introduce you to our panel this week. First, she's a comedian headlining at the Lounge at the DC Improv July 11th to 13th. A proud Boston College graduate, it's Joelle Nicole Johnson.
Hi, Joelle.
Next, he's the co-host of the hit podcast Nobody Listens to Paula Poundstone and its new sister show, Dear Crinkle. It's Tufts alumni Adam Felber.
Hi, Adam.
Hey, Jennifer.
Hello.
And a comedian who will be performing at the Wilbur Theater in Boston on October 3rd and at the MGM National Harbor Casino on October 4th. Somebody who went to college in a less enlightened city. It's Maz Jobrani.
Hi, Jennifer.
So, Jennifer, welcome to the show. You, of course, are going to play Who's Bill this time. Bill Curtis, standing before us here, is going to read for you 3 quotations from the week's news. Your job, explain or identify just 2 of them. Do that, you will win our prize, the voice of anyone you might choose in your voicemail. Are you ready to play?
I'm ready.
Here we go. Here is your first quote.
I love a deal, but I'll pass on a leg workout at 40,000 feet.
That was a traveler responding to the news that airlines, after threatening it for years, are finally going to begin offering what cost-saving seating innovation next
Standing
year?
room only?
Standing room?
Oh.
Yeah, I guess so.
Like the seats won't recline?
Oh, it's worse than that. Seats? Nobody said anything about sitting.
Okay, so they're standing?
Standing seats and airlines are
God.
coming, yes.
No.
Finally, a solution for that problem of spilling hot coffee in your lap on an airplane. No more laps. At first, this will be offered as an ultra-low-budget option for people on short flights across Europe, and a lot of people, won't mind standing for a little while to save $100 or more. And of course, no airplane flight has ever taken longer than it was supposed to, so no worries.
Right.
So usually they get upset when you stand. They go,
Yes.
sit.
Yes.
So now they're going to be like, stand.
Don't sit, stand.
Stand.
Yes.
Stand. And
Yeah.
then they police your angle. Sir, that's 90 degrees. No, 45, sir.
Just flight attendants coming up and down the aisle with a protractor. That'll be great.
What are they going to call the slots? Are they going to call them stands?
Oh, no, you know how these people work. These seats will be called Skyriders.
Skyriders.
Sky riding. It makes it sound like fun. It's like a roller coaster, except it lasts an hour, and if it does a thrilling loop-de-loop, you're in trouble. The idea is you have sort of a seat back and a seat belt, but instead of sitting down, you lean back and put some of your weight on a, quote, half-standing saddle-style perch. It's sort of like a padded bicycle seat.
Wow, but
No.
people think it can't get worse than that, but they haven't experimented with stacking yet.
That's true.
No, look at my ears.
My people would beg to disagree.
Yeah.
So they'll be called
What
standing
dare.
seats for taller people, crouching seats. In case of a rough landing, domino seats.
Yeah.
I wonder if you stood on 1 foot if they'd give you a discount. Be like, yeah, I'm taking up less space.
All right, here is your next quote.
Am I hot or not?
The Washington Post reports that people are asking that age-old question to what new technology?
AI.
AI, ChatGPT.
Yes, ChatGPT. Apparently, people want the unvarnished truth about how they look, unaffected by things like kindness or empathy, so they're asking AI to tell them. These are all true. ChatGPT told one user who asked that they needed tooth whitening, another that their eyebrows were thinning, and another that they were, quote, a 5, but could go to a 7 with the help of makeup and fillers.
Jeez.
Wow.
I mean, if you really want to be told you're ugly, you just post that question on Instagram and
Right.
That's true.
they'll tell you.
Yes,
You don't even
they
have to ask.
Real people will tell you.
Yeah. I don't need ChatGPT. My mother will tell me, you know?
Right? I'm
My
just
mother
saying.
once told me I was gaining weight while I was eating pasta in Paris.
Really?
Yeah, I flew her there first class.
Wait a minute. You flew
My mama.
to Paris.
Yes.
First class.
Yes.
You get there, you go to some fabulous restaurant in some great Parisian neighborhood. It
Yeah.
looks great. You order food, and she says,
You need to work on your weight.
Oh my goodness.
And I was like, that's why you don't have any grandkids.
here is your last quote.
It can give you the ick, but it won't make you sick.
That was the Washington Post on new research that finds a classic party foul actually doesn't spread
Double dipping?
germs.
Yeah.
So when you're near the dip, it's okay to do what?
Double dip.
Double dip,
Double
yes. Researchers at Clemson University have found that double dipping your chip does introduce bacteria into the dip, but it is unlikely to make anyone else sick. So if you are annoyed by people standing there double dipping, just waiting until they double dip, you catch them, they stare right at you and say, Clemson says it's fine.
Chips are like a one-bite thing. Do you guys take multiple bites of your chips?
Well, yeah.
Really?
Sure.
Just finish it.
Small mouth.
Dip and eat and go.
Well, but the back end doesn't have any dip on it.
Exactly. So you have a little bite, and then you turn it around, and the dip that you were holding, the end that you were holding, you dip that in. Oh, yeah.
I live by a mantra, Peter.
Yes.
We cannot double dip if we don't kiss on the lips.
There you go.
Wow.
Now,
Bars.
further research, these Clemson guys apparently are on it. They showed that not all dips were equal. High acidity dips like salsa held less bacteria than low acidity dips like cheese. Good to know. Safest of all was the sour cream and bleach dip.
Yeah, that one's very sanitary.
You know, I mean, the Trump administration is cutting money from cancer research,
Yeah.
but they're funding chip.
Oh, no,
dip.
RFK Jr. asked for this specifically, because you know he's been doing it his whole life.
I am not going near a bowl that he dipped in, even single dip. Right. So they tested all these dips. They dipped a chip in.
They dipped a chip in,
and they
tested it
assume
for
that
bacteria.
dips don't lie.
Yep.
Don't lie. I wonder, Clemson should ask
That was
ChatGPT
a good
if
one.
this is a good study.
Yeah, it was.
And see what ChatGPT says. Like, you need to lose weight.
Lay off the dip anyway.
You have to dip, dude.
Bill, how did Jennifer do in our quiz?
She did great. Got to give her 3 in a row.
Well done, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for playing, and take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
The last thing I need is AI.
Right now, panel, it is time
telling
for you to
me
answer
that
some
I
questions
don't
about this
measure
week's
up in
news.
some way.
Joelle, this fall, more and more colleges will be offering special instructional courses after finding the vast number of incoming students don't know how to do what?
Read.
Oh, right? Like penmanship?
Well, I'm going to give it to you because the answer is pretty much anything. They don't know how to do anything.
we'll all
universities
get
more and more
points
are
for
offering
saying
courses on
anything on
basic
that?
life skills because
Yeah.
their students don't have any. So they'll offer classes in things like how to pay rent and navigating a grocery store and how yellow should a pillow get before you worry.
I'm still working on that
The
one.
kids actually, they
Okay.
love this. They
Yes.
love this. One student in Toronto said, quote, I don't know how to change a tire. I don't know how to sew. I don't know how to do a lot of things. other than cooking, said the student who almost certainly also doesn't know how to cook.
You know, this is important though, because like life skills, I wish I had gotten a class on taxes. We never got the tax class. We never got the mortgage class. We never got that when I was in high school. It's like, I don't care about the periodic table. I don't want to get.
I got all those classes in high school. Now, granted, like it was, it was all part of econ in high school. Like we hadn't, my high school had an economy class. I think junior year was econ. And so a lot of microeconomics was covered in econ as well as macroeconomics. So we learned how to do this stuff. But also I learned how to do this stuff as a child and a teenager from watching my mom and dad, and then having to do it myself. Like when I had a job, I had to file for taxes. When all the other stuff was all the like cleaning, cooking, all that stuff was cooking I picked up on my own. Cooking was something because it had some sort of passion, sparked some sort of hi, Just Me Crystal. Cooking sparked a passion in my heart, so that sort of that was that. But and cleaning was something I'm not good at, keeping a space clean, but I know how to clean spaces. That was both partially taught to me by my parents or other adults in my life, and partially taught at school, because at my high school we had an after school program called Work Crew, where you took care of the school.
Makes a lot of sense.
It was both punishment. Everyone was required to do it at least for at least one period of time.
Okay.
But it could also be given as punishment detail. And it was used for kids who got a lot of financial aid. It was a way for us to sort of work off some of our financial aid. So I ended up with Work Crew almost year-round, almost every year, because I was on a lot of financial aid to go there, and because every student had to do it at least once. So I had I did the Work Crew a lot. Which meant that I learned a lot of different skills around the school, a lot of different cleaning skills.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
That particular model to balance out financial aid sounds an awful lot like, I don't know if they're still doing it, but I know they were doing it over at Northridge for a while.
Northridge?
Branch.
North Branch. Yeah. You cut out there right after North. So it makes some sense, yes. But I don't think coupling it with the same thing that is used as punishment is a good call.
No. I know.
I don't necessarily think that making the kid work off their debt is a good call. That's not cool, because it's not the kid's fault that they can't afford that. And it's not the parents' fault they can't afford it, but it really, it puts a lot on the shoulders of that child. Like, as I think about this, the more I think about it as I grow older, the more I'm like, that really wasn't cool. The fact that I was always doing work crew really made me stick out from the other kids as being really poor. It was a way of singling me out. It was a way of saying, ha ha, look, the poor kid.
Yeah.
The poor kid who's only here because we're being really nice to him. And it didn't help that I wasn't included in photographs. Didn't help that I wasn't included in anything, really. I was the token poor kid.
Yeah, no, no.
Kids shouldn't have to work off school debt.
No.
Period. Kids shouldn't have school debt. Period. As I think about this, now I realize that, I was going to an independent school. I was going to a private school, so it was going to cost money. It was a private school that was 40 minutes away, 30 minutes away from my home. I went there so that I didn't get in as many fights. That's why they took me out of public school, was because I had a fighting problem. Right.
You got the Will Smith treatment long before The Fresh Prince was on TV.
Actually, no. I got the Will Smith treatment as The Fresh Prince was on TV. It was right around that same exact time. It was like within those couple of years. It might have been a year before or 2 years before, but it was right around then. Like, I was getting the Will Smith treatment.
You would have your timelines better than I do.
It happened right around the same time that Bart got accepted to a private school. That was a big deal. Because I felt like Bart trying to fit into that private school. You know? I was not. Woof. Man, that's some deep lore stuff there, though. So, yeah, I don't think that is. I don't think that's a good idea. I think it's a good idea to make the children do it. I don't think it's a good idea to make it be punishment. And I don't think it's a good idea to make it be a way of paying for school. I think it should be done specifically so that children learn to take responsibility for their area. They learn cleaning skills and they learn the skills required to keep an area together.
I mean, if you are setting up a school and you're setting it up with the deliberate intention that the bulk of the janitorial messes are going to be handled by the students as part of their learning,
Yep.
then I can see looking at people coming in and saying, this is our curriculum, and because this is our curriculum, our tuition is this.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, but no, that should be an across the board thing.
it should be. It should be, but
I really don't think. I have my opinions about private schools, about private schooling to begin with. I'm not sure that I like it. I'm not sure that I think it's a good idea. I think, I think that in fact, I'm pretty sure I think it's a bad idea. I think that it is pulling money out of public schools. It is slowly choking the life out of our education system. All so that people don't have to address the inequities in our education system. It's private school is, and it was at the time being used in that way. So I'm kind of against private school. I don't think that primary education should cost money. I really don't. And I don't think you should be able to pay for a better one. I think we should all get the same primary education, and it should all be top level. There shouldn't be school choice.
Yes, but there should be some ability to say my child is not doing well with these teachers and move them somewhere else.
Maybe.
Just because you've got top level teachers.
No. I don't think it should be incumbent on the student to move. No. I think a parent should be able to go and say to the system, my child is not doing well with these teachers, and the teachers move.
But what if
the child gets a new teacher?
What about all the other children who are doing well with those teachers?
They stick with those teachers.
So they're all. So if you're at point A, that means that teacher and all those other children are moving.
I don't think we need to localize geography anymore.
We do, actually. This is one thing that I have seen from the online elementary school people.
Okay.
They need to be in a classroom with other people. There can be portions that are done online, but for a social
Okay.
A social
Then let us zoom down into the micro here and let's examine this. All right. One kid is having a hard time learning from teachers, right?
Right.
Is it hopefully what we would like to see is that there are enough teachers at the school that if one teacher isn't working with a kid, another teacher at the same school can come work with that kid. Right? If we're doing this, let us reimagine down to the granular level how this works.
Which would be what I said. If they can say, I don't like this classroom. This is not working for my child in this classroom. Can we try a different one? So instead of going to room A, they're going to room B.
But what you're doing is not taking the child out of the school system. What you do is you make the school system work for the children that are in it. Not make the children fit into the school system.
Wait. Don't tell me. Why are we here?
Fair enough.
It is an important discussion, but...
Fair enough, but no, we went here. She asked the question. I now feel the need to clarify.
We're going to finish this, then we'll get back to the game.
I do feel the need to clarify, because this is a big deal. Everybody... Yes, our education system is broken. It is not functioning. There are ways to make it work. We need to start at the granular level.
Yes. And at your granular level, you need to have more local elementary schools for each area instead of a massive elementary school.
More teachers per school, less students per teacher, more resources per student.
And you actually need to have learning. What is the word I want?
But
you have actual learning.
I don't think
learning models built that work with each child instead of trying to shoehorn
children into a style of learning. Now,
you need to actually have it built around the different learning models.
I still think that private schools are bad. I think that private schools, school choice, is what is taking all of the money and ability away from public education. If private schools weren't sucking the money and draining the brains of public schools, then maybe public schools would be capable of offering the things that would make it a decent school experience.
Okay.
Now,
so then my next question is, what do you do for things like the school for the deaf, like we have over in Stanton? That is a private school.
Does it have to be privatized, though?
I mean, technically, it doesn't have to be privatized, but that is effectively a private school. So, in this model,
why does it have to be privatized?
Like I said, it doesn't have to be.
Okay.
But when you are using the word private, you need to be clear on what you mean by private.
State-funded, state oversight.
In which case, a great deal of these quote-unquote private schools,
charter schools,
currently are getting state funding and have some
not state oversight.
No, they still have a form of state oversight because they still have to do certain things. They just don't have all of the state oversight.
They barely have state oversight. They barely have anybody checking. That's why kids are graduating unable to do basic stuff.
Well, and I'm going to come back at that. There has also been an increase in requirement from the state schools to give leeway on things that they didn't used to give leeway on before. there has been this huge uptick in, if you are not completing your assignments, well, we're just going to pass you because you're now next year's.
Yeah,
instead of making them repeat and do it.
Part of that is because they could just as easily lose this kid's voucher money to some random private school that's not even going to pay attention to if the kid shows up.
I mean, the school that they're at now isn't paying attention to if they show up. They're not learning anything, so they're not there.
I have a huge problem with how the education system is being run right now.
Yes.
If that is not absolutely apparent to anybody in the audience, I am really not okay with it. And looking back in historical view, I think that my going to private school may have been not cool. It was good for me. It was healthy for me because it kept me from having to fight my way through high school.
Okay.
But maybe public schools shouldn't have been so pressed and so rigid that someone so different as me would have had to fight their way through high school.
Yes, but the problem is you're trying to create a system that does at the most good for the most number of people. When you start balancing things with the most good for the most number of people, that means that there are going to be those that are different that do not fall in that category.
No, I'm not trying to develop a system that does the most good for the most people. I'm trying to develop a system that does an equal amount of good for everyone. I want everyone to be brought up to a level of equality. Not the most good for the most people, because the most good for the most people allows for inequality. It allows for the super rich. It allows for there to be people who have more good than other people. I want everyone to have the same amount of good. And I want it, and because I know there's enough good out there, I want it all to be enough good that we're all at an acceptable level of good. I'm not trying to do the most good for the most people.
Okay.
I think that that is actually a very important distinction to make at this point.
It is.
That's where the Vulcans got it wrong. The needs of the many don't outweigh the needs of the one. No one's needs outweighs anyone else's needs. The needs of the many are equal to the needs of the one. The one may choose to sacrifice themselves for the needs of the many.
Yes.
But no one's needs come before anyone else's. Everyone's needs are equal. The many, the few, the one, all of them are equal. And that's where utopianists got it wrong. That's where my parents got it wrong.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
If you make a system that is the best, that does the most good for the most people, ultimately there are outliers like myself who get nothing. Ultimately, there are outliers like myself who are the ones who get the most bad. You know? And that, I don't think we need that. I don't think we need that. I think we can do better as a species.
I think you are correct.
And
the question
is
how
why
long
you
will it
should
take us
vote
to get
for
there?
me.
Now that we have discussed that, can we get back to the game
Yes.
and vote on that
Yes,
instead?
we can. We certainly can. I'm sorry. I really do feel the need to, like, really nail that home with people these days. Like,
I understand that. That's why I pick on things like certain terms to make you define them.
Yeah. I appreciate that. I think people are getting too comfortable hiding behind imperfect rhetoric. And that maybe we should be re-examining our rhetoric.
Most of the systems that we have currently have grown the way they have grown and need to be looked at, taken completely apart, and put back together again. In all honesty, with your equal good for everybody.
Yeah.
Starting point.
All right. Thank you for letting me go off on my rant there, friends. Let's get back to the game. Peanut Gallery, I am sorry that I had to do that. Like, I appreciate that you tried to take us back to the point. Thank you for trying.
I'm not even certain how we got on there because I'm pretty certain the question had nothing to do with education.
No, it did. The question was,
what do colleges have to start teaching their students?
Right.
Everything. And home ec was the comeback for it, and that just kind of started the whole show.
Well, and it wasn't just home ec.
No, it wasn't.
Oh, okay. So in my high school, it wasn't called home ec.
We already covered that, though.
In my high school, it was called microeconomics.
Yes.
Which is what they call it on Marketplace and in the outside world.
Mm.
I hate that my high school was so good and yet so bad.
I can't even see the tracks for the train of thought anymore. We've gone so far off.
Yes, we have.
We really have. It's a lot of deep lore on that one, though.
Audited.
The 401k class, right?
Right. What about the 401k class?
But also, this generation now, they just do everything on their phone. Like, they don't even go grocery shopping. It's Instacart. Everything's on there. So to your point, like, they haven't had to do anything. Just they press a button and someone does it for them.
So, yeah. So you're speaking about the kids these days.
Kids these days.
Yeah.
Am I that old?
Yeah.
Oh, that old.
Have you found any of these kids on your lawn, and do you wish them to leave, Moss?
Every day, Peter, every day.
But, but it has existed as a problem for a long time. I'm sure I'm not the only person here who's had a roommate that could have used a course in showering 101.
True. Yeah.
And you know what? ChatGPT can't tell you if you smell.
Right now, these are offered as extracurricular classes, not for credit, but pretty soon they'll be granting degrees, right? Imagine all the proud parents watching their kids graduate with a summa cum laude in laundry studies.
I've taught my kids to do laundry, and I have them fold, I have them do everything, and I always say to them, I go, guys, it's not that I can't do it. I want you to learn how to do it. But the truth is, I really don't want to do it.
Exactly. And do you say that sitting in your armchair flicking through the TV channels?
All the time.
It's very good for you. It's very good for you.
Guys, I could vacuum, but I want you to learn how to vacuum.
So, I will say that
Coming up, our panelists
credit,
get lovesick in our Bluff the Listener game.
To our credit, and to Baby Z's credit, he really wants to learn to clean because he sees us cleaning and he wants to imitate adults.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as he knows, because he doesn't socialize with a lot of kids. He only socializes mostly with me and Jen. So as far as he knows, that's how humans behave.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what he's trying to emulate, is the way that... And, she does a lot of cleaning. And so he just, we were, the other day, we were play cleaning. We were play cleaning some stuff.
You say play cleaning, but it's teaching skills. It's teaching all sorts of skills that you don't realize.
Oh, yeah, no. Yeah, I get it. And, where he... as he gets a little bigger, I look forward to play cleaning the house with him.
All right, here's something for you. I know I've talked about brain development and stuff before.
Yeah.
To learn how to do something, just flat learn how to do something, it can take up to 500 or so repetitions for that particular thing sticks.
500.
Wait. If it's learned during play, you drop it down to 10 to 20 times.
10 to 20 times. See, that sounds more familiar. That sounds more closely related. Although, actually, no. I guess so, yeah. I'm thinking of songs. You recognize a song after hearing it 7 times. Something starts to become a habit after you do it 7 times, is what I've been told.
That's kind of based more on that
but,
specific rote thing. But if you're
I like the idea that if you learn something during play, it doesn't take as long to become ingrained in the mind.
Specifically, if it's in the very critical to 5 years of age range. Because play involves so many other interconnected things, it makes learning a specific task or a specific thing easier.
Yeah.
Which, if you carry that forward, so you've left the birth to 5 thing and you've gotten into middle school and high school, and you've got various clubs popping up centered around the fact that a teacher is teaching a certain way and everybody's learning because they're playing games in the class. There's a reason that's working.
Okay. That's
So
interesting.
yes, please bring the shiny math rocks and play riffs in class. The hated way to learn percentages.
I think I learned percentages. Oh, I know why I learned percentages. Never tell me the odds. Sorry, sir. Star Wars.
Yep.
Star Wars is where I started to learn percentages because C-3PO would toss out odds.
Right.
And while I still don't understand the odds of something happening, I understand percentages very well. And once I started to understand the language of math, percentum made perfect sense to me. Per capita, I grabbed onto that one very quick because it's percent times 10. But only when you're talking about people. Per capita means per 1,000 people. It just stuck like that because I'd learned what percentum was when I was,
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, back to the show.
Back to the show. Yeah, now that we've stopped to talk positively about education as well as negatively, we can get on with this crap.
Call 1-888-WAIT-WAIT to play. We'll be back in a minute with more of Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me from NPR.
And provides the service investing involves a risk.
Here to help customers. More at Betterment.com. Credit on your next camp. The essential AI community for free at Grammarly.com.
We are playing this week with Maz Jobrani, Adam Felber, and Joyelle Nicole Johnson. And here again is your host at the Wang Theater in Boston, Massachusetts, Peter Sagal.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, everybody. Once again, it is time for the Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me Bluff the Listener game. Call 1-888-WAIT-WAIT to play our game on the air, or check out the pinned post on our Instagram page at WaitWaitNPR. Hi, you are on Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me.
Hi, how are you?
I'm well. Who's this?
This is Aaron Berg calling from Des Moines, Iowa.
Des Moines, Iowa is a fabulous place. We're going there later this summer. What do you do there?
I am a butcher's assistant.
You are a butcher's assistant? I mean, does a butcher's assistant stand there while the butcher reaches for tools like cleaver?
Sometimes, yes, but usually I take the pieces and arrange them on a tray for display, or I put them in a bag to be vacuum sealed or something like that.
It's like a puzzle. Aaron, it's nice to have you with us. You're going to play our game in which you have to tell truth from fiction. Bill, what is Aaron's topic?
Romance gone wrong.
A lot of things can go wrong during an attempted romantic gesture, a forgotten allergy, poorly worded card. To whom it may concern, happy anniversary. Our panel is going to tell you about a well-intended moment between lovers gone awry. Pick the one who's telling the truth, and you'll win the Wait Waiter of your choice on your voicemail. Are you ready to play?
Yes, I am.
Here we go. Your first story comes from Adam Felber.
Despite their wealth, young tech millionaires Vikram Anand and Betty Wolski had a small Bay Area wedding. But last week, after the ceremony, Betty surprised Vic with a gigantic reception that pulled out all the stops. She flew 35 members of his family in from India and staged a party straight out of a Bollywood spectacular, a tent festooned with 5,000 marigolds, a 20-piece swing band, and made her grand entrance on an elephant, which is when things went wrong. Bettina turned out to be an amateur mahout at best, and the elephant she'd rented was a rescued circus performer whose one trick turned out to be picking up performers with her trunk, which she promptly did as Betty attempted to dismount and then attempted to do the same to several other bridesmaids before fleeing with her trainer, knocking down 2 poles, causing the massive tent to collapse on the entire party. Vikram, for his part, was philosophical, quote, "She didn't really stage an accurate Indian wedding party, but the way it ended in total disaster like that? For my family, that was right on point."
A trained elephant at a wedding does what it was trained to do and ruins the wedding. Your next red hot mess comes from Joyelle Nicole Johnson.
Nothing says I love you like a bed covered in rose petals, diamond bracelets, or potato chips. This week, news broke worldwide about a husband named Johnny who tried to surprise his wife Rachel with a romantic gesture. He loves her, and she loves chips. So, for her birthday, he took her to exotic Blackpool, Lancashire, and asked the hotel staff to cover the bed in 30 bags of assorted potato chips for his crisp-loving battle axe. He assumed they knew he meant to keep the chips in the bag.
Oh.
However, a confused staffer who must have thought they had some type of fetish misunderstood the request and opened the bags of chips and poured them all over the bed. Upon entering the room, Rachel thought they were the victims of a cartoonish break-in. As she ate a few of the chips off the bed, he sheepishly explained his intention, and they got one of the best laughs of their relationship. And Johnny learned a valuable lesson when making a request to never assume clarity, because when you assume, you make an ass out of you, me, and the hotel staff.
Yeah. I wanted to be that one, but no.
Evening ends in an unexpected crunch on a bed of chips. Your last I love you snafu comes from Maz Jobrani.
Thaddeus Johnson from Melbourne, Australia, decided to surprise his wife for her birthday by hiring a Bee Gees cover band to serenade her with her favorite songs. But once the band started singing, Johnson quickly realized that the spelling of the band's name, B-E-J-E-E-Z, Bee Gees, meant they were a Christian Bee Gees cover band who changed the lyrics of Bee Gees songs to make them more, quote, Jesus-y. Johnson said, I knew something was off when they started singing, oh, 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 he's alive, he's alive. I'm like, who's alive? What are they talking about? Johnson's wife was confused at first. Was he trying to romance her or convert her? Not sure how to react, she asked herself, what would Jesus do? So she took her glass of water and turned it into wine and sat back to enjoy the rest of the performance.
All right, let's review your choices. Was it from Adam Felber, an elephant hired for a traditional Indian wedding turned out to be trained and trained in the wrong way? From Joyelle Nicole Johnson, somebody who wanted to celebrate their wedding or their romantic evening with their wife's favorite snack, chips, ended up lying down in a bed filled with them. Or from Maz Jobrani, an Australian couple gets their romantic evening ruined when the Bee Gees cover band turns out to be a Christian Bee Gees cover band.
Okay, so what are you going for there, Peanut Gallery?
Chips.
Going for chips. You're going for B as well.
Yeah.
No one's taken the Bee Gees. The reason
no, I'm ignoring it if it is true.
Right. I recognize the names of the people getting married in the first story.
Okay. Cool beans.
In the second story, she said chips, not crisps.
Because it was an American couple that was setting.
It was Blackpool. It would have been crisps. It doesn't matter if it was an American couple. It was in England. They don't have... Their chips in England are something...
Or French fries.
Not exactly. They're more like potato wedges.
Okay, fair.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes they are just straight up French fries.
Yeah.
But sometimes they're also more like potato wedges.
In that case, given that you recognize the name of the couple, you're probably right. I'm sticking with potato chips, though.
Yeah. Now, one thing we do know about this show is that using logic, prior information, and reason,
yes,
are not necessarily the way to get to the answer.
I mean,
since they didn't have a dick and fart joke, though, I'm going with the one I'm going for.
Okay.
If they'd have given me a dick and fart option, I'd have
That
gone
would have been the
for
one.
it. Right. If they'd have given me a poop joke or a fart joke, that would have been, that's them. But they didn't, so I think it's A.
I'm gonna have to say the second though.
You're gonna have to say the second one. That would be Joyelle's story, if I'm not mistaken. Joyelle's story, is that the one you're picking? All right. The audience agrees. Let's hear from someone who was involved in the real story.
You guys are right. It's
As I
B.
was hysterically laughing, walking around the bed, tasting the crisp, eventually I calmed down and rung the reception to come and remove the crisp off the bed.
That was Rachel Norman, the chip-loving wife herself, telling the Blackpool Gazette all about her, as they say over there, crisp-covered bed. You were correct. Joyelle was telling the truth. You have won a point for her simply for being convincing. And of course, you've won our game. Congratulations, and thank you so much for playing.
Thank
You
very
guys
much for
were
having me.
right.
Bye-bye.
And I was wrong.
And now the game where we ask legends about things that nobody has ever heard of. It's called Not My Job. From 1939 to 1985, only 3 Boston Red Sox players regularly...
Can we talk about something there for a second?
Yes.
I was wrong.
Yes, you were.
I didn't lie. I was wrong. I find that a lot of men specifically, because I can't bring to mind women who do this, but I find that men would rather be called a liar than be wrong. Men, instead of being wrong, instead of like I was just there, most men would have said, "Oh, I lied," instead of saying, "Oh, I was wrong." And I don't think that that is culturally healthy. Is this something that the two of you have noticed?
Not specifically, no.
Is it
Yes,
something?
but it's not a cultural. Well, it is a cultural thing. More of a cultural thing in the sense of,
Like, is it a Southern man thing?
no, it's a patriarchy related.
Okay. But it is
It's
there.
cultural in that sense. Yeah.
You see it too.
Oh, yeah.
Peanut Gallery,
No.
you don't? You haven't seen it? Have you ever said that, Peanut Gallery? Instead of saying I was wrong, have you said I lied?
Not that I recall.
Yeah,
I would absolutely hate to be called a liar.
You seem like a person who is, oddly enough, secure enough in yourself to be able to be wrong and not a liar.
Actually, I think it's more... That may be accurate, but I feel it is more accurate to say I am insecure enough to assume I was wrong.
I think.
See, I think it comes from self-awareness of your insecurity. I think men who aren't self-aware about their insecurity are the ones who say, I lied. I feel like
I'm
this
going to say that I have also noticed women doing it too, and it is always in a case of admitting you're wrong means that you are somehow less than. So admitting that, saying that this was a lie, I must have lied, leaves them feeling more powerful than just simply saying, nope, I was wrong.
Okay. I think that this is an important thing to dig into all of a sudden. Of course I do. But no,
I've noticed women, especially if they are in a place of power.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on how they worked their way to get there, what they had to go through to get to that point of being in charge, they will say that too. And it is entirely an insecurity thing. I do not feel secure in my position of whatever it is that I can say, I can be vulnerable and say, I was wrong, versus I lied. I have heard my mother do that.
I've heard a waitress do it, I think. Well, okay, so now that we're aware of it, here is the assignment. Now that I've called our attention to it, let's start being aware of it and have it's okay to be wrong check-in every week where we discuss this.
You know, I think there are times when people do backtrack and saying, I lied, as opposed to I was wrong, was more of an admittance that they had the proper information. They gave you the wrong information by mistake. So therefore, even with the proper information, they did, even though it was an honest mistake, they did technically lie.
That does happen.
Okay. I'm willing to accept that too. I say we pay attention to it out in the world and come back and discuss.
So we give it more than a week, though, because we're not going to be back next week.
Right. But I say like we discuss it. I say we have a discussion about that.
Definitely something to jot down for.
Right.
Further notes. Is that bird here or there?
It's there.
Okay.
Not here.
Okay.
All right. Back to the game.
Started in left field in front of the Green Monster at Fenway. First, Hall of Famer Ted Williams, then Hall of Famer Carl Yastrzemski, and then finally Hall of Famer Jim Rice, who in his career led the Sox to 2 American League pennants and won the American League MVP, among many other honors. Jim Rice, welcome to Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me.
Thank you.
So I am thrilled to see you. Everybody here is thrilled to see you, and I was delighted to discover that you came to Boston to play in 1975, and you still live here. You never left.
Yes.
You never left. And when is the last time that you had to pay for your own drink in a bar?
Well, I don't drink, never have.
Okay.
I'm sort of like a Pepsi Coke guy.
When's the last time you had to pay for your own Pepsi?
Probably today.
That's the NPR budget, sir.
Do you? I'm assuming you get. Well, of course, you're also on TV, helping to broadcast Red Sox games. So I'm assuming you get recognized a lot.
Yes, this is a very sports-minded city, regardless if you're playing baseball, football, but they know who you are.
We hear about Boston. I am one. A Boston Red Sox fan. The we can be a little abrasive. Does anybody ever give you grief for anything, or are you way beyond that?
No, when I first got here, being from the South, I was brought up that you speak to everyone as you're walking down the streets and things like that. And someone stopped me and said, "We don't do that here." So it was hard for me to make that adjustment being a Southern guy and being hospitable and things like that. We don't speak.
You came up here and you had manners, and they're like, "That's not what we do in Boston."
That was
it. So, Jim, you played in front of the Green Monster at Fenway. For people who don't know, that's this very high, close-in wall that makes left field in Fenway particularly hard to play. Did you just enjoy yourself when opposing teams would go out there and watch them screw it up?
We did, but as a player, this is like your house, which we knew. The time we hit the ball, we knew we had a chance to get a double. Now, the opposing team, they didn't have any idea how good I was. They were getting a single.
So this would happen, right? I mean, it happens sometimes to this day that an opposing player will hit the ball high off the wall. That's a hard hit ball. They're like, "I'm taking two, easy." And the next thing you know, you've got it in to second base before they're even rounding.
Well, we had a team here the other day. I guess they called themselves the Mets, I believe.
I've heard of
And there was a guy, Soto, making all this dough, and he hit one out. He stood there and he tried to style a little bit.
Yeah, he was admiring his
Thank you.
shot. Yeah.
And it didn't work out pretty good.
No, because it's a really high wall.
Yeah, it is.
It really is.
Hey, you know what? The Mets.
You are in the Baseball Hall of Fame, a rare and extraordinary achievement. You were elected in your last year of eligibility, 15th year.
I got in my last year.
Yeah. And what were you doing when you got the call?
Well, do I have to say it?
I believe you do. Please.
Okay. My mom and I, she was a General Hospital, and I was a General Hospital Young and the Restless. And so, no, I'm serious. And so my whole career, I watched Young and the Restless. So when I got the call, I was watching Young and the Restless. And I was asked, well, you just made it to the Hall of Fame. I said, look, I'm looking at the Young and the Restless. Call me back later. I swear to God.
Really?
Good
for you.
Whoa. And
wait a minute. It seems like they call you, they say, Mr. Rice, I'm calling from Cooperstown. And you're like, wait a minute. It just turned out that's not Denise. It's Denise's evil twin. I'll call you back.
No, well, I knew that because they said if you get in the Hall of Fame, they'll call you at a certain time.
Right.
Don't bother me at 12:30. 12:30 to 1:30? No. And
they couldn't wait for Bold and Beautiful.
Well, believe it or not, Young and the Restless is much better than Bold and Beautiful.
Oh, I believe it.
You go from the Young and the Restless to the Bold and the Beautiful, or vice versa. And so, if you watch the guy name is Victor, and I have it on my phone.
Oh, he's a very famous actor who did this role for me.
I have it on my phone, and he called me and said, Jim, I know you watched the Young and the Restless. Congratulations, you're in the Hall of Fame.
So you got a call from Victor?
I have it on my phone.
That's
yes.
amazing.
Great.
That's
yes,
amazing. But you said... You said that you watched it your whole career.
Yeah.
So what did you do during like day games? It's like, Jim, you're up. You're like, no, my stories are wrong.
No. You could have it taped, but a good friend of mine, Bob Montgomery, which was behind Carlton Fisk, we played golf a lot, and he asked me one day, he said, why we always have to play golf and be back before 12:30?
Really?
Yeah. I didn't smoke, I didn't drink, and I didn't really have lunch because I was very nervous. I was so antsy about the game, so I didn't really. And so that was my downtime to watch Young and the Restless.
Have you ever thought of doing a walk-on?
I thought about that, but I'm too. Like, my hands are sweaty now by being up here. I can play in front of a crowd, But this here is terrifying. I'm telling you.
Really?
Yeah, I'm serious, yeah. I'm sweating. It's amazing. Because I'm not accustomed to this.
You're not accustomed to sitting in. Well, yeah.
I got a quick question too. I never had a chance to talk to a Hall of Fame hitter. You guys, it's about what, less than a second to decide to hit the ball. So can you talk us through the mechanics of when you decide to swing and don't, and like how does that work?
See ball, hit ball. See ball, hit ball out.
See ball, hit ball.
And that, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what we called analytics back in the day. Well, Jim Rice, it is an absolute thrill for me personally to talk to you. And we have invited you here to play a game that this time we're calling
Watch Out for These Green Monsters.
So as we said, you're one of 3 Hall of Famers so far to play in front of the Green Monster in Fenway Park. So we're going to ask you about actual monsters that are green. Answer 2 to 3 correctly, you'll win our prize for one of our listeners. Bill, who is the legendary Jim Rice playing for?
Colton Johnson of Boston, Massachusetts.
Okay.
You got this.
Here's your first question. The very green Incredible Hulk has been smashing things since his appearance in the comics in 1962, but one of his most exciting adventures happened in the 1990s, which saw the Incredible Hulk taking on what enemy? A, 100 baby ducks. B, the boy band New Kids on the Block. Or C, Marvel's quarterly financial report and future projected earnings.
Wow. New Kids on the Block.
C question, answer question.
Exactly.
Okay.
What did you say?
New Kids.
New Kids?
I'm going with Marvel because I have no clue.
Number 3, you're right.
Yeah.
It was the Marvel Annual Report, which was printed that year as a comic book, in which the Hulk discussed publishing revenues with stockholders.
Wow.
Here's your next question.
It would have been
That's very
better
good.
if they used
in
the beast.
Dr. Seuss's book, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the Grinch is shown in black and white. And the Grinch only became green for the animated TV version. How did animator Chuck Jones decide the Grinch should be that shade of green? A, it happens to be the exact same shade as stomach bile.
Huh?
B, it was the same color as the really ugly rental car he took to meet Dr. Seuss. Or C, his ink supplier was having a sale on that shade the week they went into production.
C.
C.
What?
A.
A? What did you say?
I'm going with A. She said C.
I'm saying C.
Wait a minute. I'll go with C.
You're going to go with C. His ink supplier was having a make him green. It's cheap. No, it was actually the color of the rental car. Nonetheless, I mean, you're used to this. You get a couple of chances to get a hit.
Dang.
Okay. Here's your last question. Sesame Street's green monster, Oscar the Grouch, has been living for decades in a trash can that never gets emptied, which is a good thing because which of these, according to Sesame Street lore, is in that trash can? A, 3 tons of Big Bird guano. B, 17 elephants, a bowling alley, a skating rink, and an Olympic-sized swimming pool. Or C, 36 human bones.
B.
B.
Someone out there said C.
B.
I know.
And ladies and gentlemen, he hits it out of the park.
Yeah.
It is B. Oscar's trash can, canonically, is bigger on the inside than it is on the outside. Bill, how did Jim Rice do in our little game?
2 out of 3, Hall of Famer. That's a win.
That's just, now I want the fans to come running onto the field.
The only thing that I really want to say and can say that I really enjoy this, but my hands are sweaty.
Should have worn your batting gloves. Jim Rice is a baseball Hall of Famer. He spent his whole career playing for the Boston Red Sox and will never pay for his own soda in Boston. Jim Rice, thank you so much for joining us. What an absolute honor to meet you. Thank you so much for being here. Jim Rice, ladies and gentlemen.
I want to, pardon me, hiccups there. I wanted to take a moment and discuss other fictional characters who have TARDISes.
What is a TARDIS?
Time and relative time and relative dimensional space. Time and relativity. Dimension in space. Time and relativity. Dimension in space. It's a TARDIS is something that is bigger on the inside than it is on the outside.
Snoopy.
Yep, that's where I was going.
Mary Poppins.
Mary Poppins. Her bag is a TARDIS. Snoopy's doghouse. Oscar the Grouch's can. Let's see.
Technically, Genie's lamp.
Genie's lamp.
Or Genie's bottle from My Dream of Genie.
Yes, that too.
Genie's bottle from My Dream of Genie, but not Genie's lamp.
Well, both of them.
Well, itty bitty living space.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah. No, he makes a point.
Well, he says itty bitty living space, but then during the animated series, he showed what was inside the living space.
Yes, but they were tiny when they went in.
Remember, he can also change the size.
Right.
True.
Same with I Dream of Genie. But
change space, but honestly, you're not fitting the couch and the elephant in the lamp or the bottle. Even if you make it tiny.
I feel like that was a pocket dimension thing.
Yeah.
All of the Highlanders.
With their jackets. Yep.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
With their hidden swords. Their pocket dimension hidden swords.
I mean, technically, every video game ever that magic horse pocket and carrying of gear ability.
Yeah. No, I mean, we could do that, but we could also do Dr. Mrs. the Monarch, or Dr. Girlfriend at the time when she pulled that list out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But I think we need to sort of set some. It's got to be
so
more
has
than
also
one
living space. Otherwise, it is called hammer space.
What?
Okay.
What did you say?
TARDIS has to include living space. Otherwise, it is referred to as hammer space because the storage dimension where cartoon characters pull the giant hammers from.
Aha! Hammer space. Da-da-da-da. Da-da. Stop. My pants are bigger on the inside than they are on the outside. Makes me say, oh my Lord, thank you for blessing me with such big jeans. Stop! Hammer space. Da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da.
Let's see.
I am almost sorry. Back to the show.
In just a minute, get a whiff of Bill. He's got the scent of summer in our Listener Limerick Challenge. Call 1-888-WAIT-WAIT to join us in the air. We'll be back in a minute with more of Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me from NPR.
This message comes from Thuma. Create your oasis with Thuma, a modern force. It's one journey, one part rhythm.
NPR and WBEZ Chicago. This is Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me. The NPR News Quiz. I'm Bill Curtis. We're playing this week with Adam Felber, Maz Jobrani, and Joyelle Nicole Johnson. And here again is your host at the Wang Theater in Boston, Massachusetts, Peter Sagal.
Thank you, Bill. In just a minute, Bill gets loose-lipped with some limericks. If you'd like to play, give us a call at 1-888-WAIT-WAIT. That's 1-888-924-8924. Right now, panel, some more questions for you from the week's news. Joyelle, a rehearsal dinner for a wedding in Canada took a surprising turn after the bride unexpectedly did what?
Oh, did she throw a drink in her husband's face?
She did not.
I need a hint.
This is actually, it's a hint and it's true. Right after she did this, a fake detective burst in and said, she's been poisoned.
A fake detective? Was she stripping?
She got poisoned.
How would that make one think they've been poisoned?
So I said fake detective, and you went right to like fake cop who comes in and strips.
Absolutely.
Right.
Give her husband a thrill. Let him know why he's marrying her.
Yeah. And maybe dinner theater.
I don't know the answer,
You
Peter.
know the answer. I'll throw it open. Does anybody know?
She pretended to kill her, like die.
Right.
And the fake detective comes in and goes, she's been poisoned.
Right, because
and then she gets up and goes, no,
exactly
I wasn't.
right,
I'm
Boz.
getting
No,
married.
because what she decided to do was, without telling anyone, to change her rehearsal dinner into a murder mystery dinner party.
Oh my God.
So she didn't collapse?
No, she didn't. She pretended to. Because you know what they say about weddings? Something borrowed, something blue, something to give your mother a coronary.
Listen, I'm Iranian, and I don't think, like, if I did that, my parents would kill me.
Right.
And then it would be a real, well, it wouldn't be, I was going to say it's a real murder mystery, but it wouldn't be because they'd know it's your parents.
Yeah, I mean, what mystery? What, you're acting? You're not, you didn't die? Die! Die!
All the money they spent.
Yeah, you almost gave me a heart attack. You should die!
So people freaked out. The groom, of course, who did not know this was going to happen, was totally stunned, but in a second gathered his wits, immediately rushed out to see if he could get his deposit for the reception back. Eventually, though, the crime was solved. They found the, quote, murderer. The wedding happened. It was perfect, and the newlyweds had a lovely first dance to the theme from Law and Order.
Okay.
It's a short dance.
Dunk, dunk.
Dum dum.
Dum, dum. We're done.
Literally a two-step.
Right.
Adam, summer travel season is just about upon us, and to help you prepare, the New York Times published an explainer of the latest travel buzzwords. What is the fun, new, hip, au courant term for going for a walk?
Flagstoning.
No.
Perambulations.
No.
Raw dog.
Constitutionals.
I'll give you a hint. Despite what it's called, you do not, in fact, need flippers and a mask.
Snorkeling.
Yes, it's called land snorkeling.
That, I would say fully a dozen things come to mind with the phrase land snorkeling that are not walking.
Yeah.
I got to rifle through all those
I know,
for a minute.
pretty much we're in the town of walking. The term was coined by what must be the two most annoying people in Montana, and it does not refer, as you might think, to using your inhaler outside. No, land snorkeling is when you think of a walk as you do snorkeling in the ocean. That is, you don't focus on your destination, you instead just think about what you can see, the sensation of being in an unfamiliar place, and the fact that everybody back in the boat is staring at your ass.
Yeah, no.
It sounds like these land snorkelers don't have jobs.
No,
They
they're
got
trying to be
something.
more mindful. People go for walks all the time.
Why don't they just say we're going for a walk and being mindful? Like, why do they got to give it a land snorkel? Like, I mean, if they had the snorkel in their mouth, that's
Yeah.
one thing.
Other terms that are very big in traveling circles is, and these are real, town sizing,
Which is?
where you skip cities and you look for towns with their own little particular charms, right?
Nope.
Or JOMO, the joy of missing out. That's when you skip
Oh, the
the big
opposite of
fun
FOMO, yeah.
places like Paris or Rio, and you embrace the experience of being stuck in Newark Airport for a week.
I am Jomo.
You are?
You're bottled Jomo.
Meaning that you just sit around all day and just are thrilled at all the things you're not doing.
Yeah, I'm at that age when somebody cancels plans. I'm like, yes. Jomo, Jomo, Jomo.
No game this week? Oh, thank gosh.
Coming up, it's like...
Today, what?
Here, no.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
I said I feel attacked.
No. I do love your game. I really do love your game. And I'm really enjoying my character. It is, there is, and it's the same with all role playing, all D&D games, all of these. Uh, it. Although I am an extrovert, I do have that slight bit of introvert, social anxiety. Like so I do, like, when you say you have social anxiety going on, I get it. Like, I do understand. I have social anxiety. I'm just an extrovert with social anxiety instead of an introvert with social anxiety. So there's a small part of me that whenever game is canceled, I'm like, yes. But I don't like that because I love actually gaming. I love role playing, and I do actually really love spending time with you two. Even if it is over headphones on Discord. Like, you guys are a lot of fun to be around. So it isn't like I get the JOMO. I understand the JOMO. I also, I don't always feel it. Does that make you feel better, Peanut Gallery? Do you see what I mean there?
Oh, I feel like attacked was a joke.
I know it
The
was
fact
a
that
joke.
you spent so long backpedaling kind of worries me.
Well, no, I know it was a joke. I just want to make sure that you also know that, like, actually what I want the audience at home to know, really, that I have social anxiety as well.
Okay.
Like, I'm not sure that people necessarily realize that. Because I navigate the world so well. He says
hard
in air
to-
quotes with a question mark.
It's hard to equate someone that you are seeing on a screen doing a live stream frequently with having social anxiety, even though you know that it's possible. It's still,
also, it's hard to equate someone, like, you guys know me in person. You know that I go out a lot. I go out to interact with people a lot.
yes.
So it's, you know, the people who know me in person, it's sort of like I am that contradiction in terms. I am that oxymoron.
Yes.
The, you know, okay.
You are a walking, talking contradiction, and that is
I am, and it is. And
in all honesty,
Deadpan
anybody
Dog
watching,
had a moment there.
Yes. You know, he's coming to check on you.
Yeah. But I guess what I want to make clear for other people watching is that it's okay to be this. And it's okay to be anything on any of the spectrums that this is. You know?
Yeah.
It's sort of like why I don't wear makeup when I'm on stream. I mean, I wear the eyeliner, but
Right.
that's costume. That's not makeup.
Yes.
I have kind of messy skin. Granted, I pick at it. That's on me. But I've always had, ever since puberty ran over me, I've had messy skin. I had very clean, clear, nice skin until about 12 and a half, 13.
Mm-hmm.
And then until about 13. Somewhere around 13, 14, somewhere around 12, the neurochemicals changed and I got depression. Somewhere around 13, the other chemicals changed. Although I never really grew a lot of hair. I still haven't grown a lot of hair. But, the face just broke out. Somewhere around 13 to 14, the face was like, and screw you. Oh, man. And it just never really stopped.
Yeah, I am with you on that particular one.
Somewhere around 15 or 16, I learned how to do my makeup.
That is a skill I did not get.
My high school wasn't big enough to have a makeup department for our drama department.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a makeup girly.
Mm.
One of the girls who went there was good at doing makeup. She was.
Okay.
She could have been a cosmetologist, except she was smart and shit. Smart and stuff. She could have been a cosmetologist, except she was smart and stuff.
I'm going to sidetrack you.
I'm
sidetracking you from the sidetrack.
Good luck. I'm not looking at Discord, and I'm not letting you get in here before I finish this story. So, she was in charge of doing everyone's makeup because she was good at doing makeup because she was a girly. Nice girl. Wonderful young woman.
You're saying she would do great on the makeup exam?
By the second play, she stopped doing my makeup. Well, okay, so here's how it went. I went to her with the bag of makeup at the beginning of the second play, and she looked at me and she said, "You know how to do this." And I went and I did my makeup, and she said, "You see, you know how to do this." And I was like, but you didn't, teach me? And she's like, "No, but you learned. And trust me, honey, this is your future."
Oh.
She knew I was going to be a queen. Even at that age, she knew I was going to be a queen. And that's how I learned to do not only my makeup, but I learned to do both IRL makeup. Well, I learned to do IRL makeup, TV makeup, and stage makeup. And they are three very different things. Even though I don't necessarily know how to do... I'm not so great at goth makeup. Because I know these other three, I can do goth makeup. That is not a rude finger to stick up.
No, because it's the other finger.
Right. That is rude, but only in Britain. All right, now to your sidetrack.
Yes. It's in the chat. I put up a picture in the chat.
Aurora
It's for tonight.
Forecast. There's an aurora viewing tonight.
Yep. We are in the band, the bright green band, that says you should be able to get it on your camera. So if you wander outside tonight and point your camera at the sky kind of north, you should be able to see it.
All right. We'll try.
Potentially, you should be able to see it all the way on camera, all the way far as the Gulf.
We will try to see the aurora tonight. I am DJing tonight as well. So, we will try to catch the aurora, get some film of the aurora, as well as while we're DJing.
Okay.
Just me, Crystal, you are hilarious, love.
Yep.
Just me, Crystal. But, hear me out. That I'm important too. It's like, yep. Yep. So much love, Just Me, Crystal.
Indeed.
You get all the loves.
I know. I figured you meant it, but still, the way he read it was awesome too.
I just, you, all of it. All of it. All the love. Hold on. I'm giving Just Me, Crystal love in the chat real quick.
Okay.
But
I didn't think it was that type of stream.
Aww. No, this stream is all about love. Okay, so OBS thinks that I'm DJ TS 1308.
Right.
No matter what I'm doing, OBS's chat is now set to DJ TS 1308.
Okay.
I can't change that. I don't know why.
Well, on Twitch, I'm seeing you pop up as both.
Well, okay, so that's because I have Twitch. I have my Twitch stream running in a separate tab.
Ah.
Right. And I'm logged into Twitch as Nikwork Entertainment. OBS is logged into Twitch. OBS is streaming as Nikwork Entertainment. But it's logged in as Trevor Stewart 1308 or DJTS 1308. It's logged in as DJTS 1308, but it's streaming under Nikwork Entertainment. It's really confused. It's so confused that, like... It's so confused that it makes sense to me. it feels kind of natural. That's why I haven't figured it out to change it yet. Because there's a whole bunch of me up here. So, of course, there should be a whole bunch of me over there.
I mean, is it causing undue hardship?
It takes an extra few minutes to, click through tabs or whatever, but no.
Is it making the system crash?
Not yet.
Don't touch it.
Better leave it alone then. There are enough technical issues as is. Yep. So when OBS revolts and boycotts, I will understand. Yes, Jessica Crystal. I'm letting OBS do its thing, man. I'm just trying not to. I think I just got a scam text. A DMV warning scam text.
Oh, yeah. Is the one with the toll?
No. This is a new one.
Oh.
Virginia State Department of Motor Vehicles, DMV, final notice. Let's see. Final notice enforcement penalties begin on June 4. Our records show that as of today, you still have an outstanding traffic ticket in accordance with New Virginia State Administrative Code 15 blah 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 blah.
Right, and it's coming from a number that starts off with 7, and then it goes into a phone number.
No, it's coming from ITBUW12849 at ksfxs.top.
Yeah, that sounds very scammy.
Yep. Very, very scammy. So people out there, especially in Virginia, be aware that they are trying a new scam here. They're trying a new scam by saying they're the DMV trying to get information. They're threatening, we will take the following actions. 1, report to the DMV violation database. Suspend your vehicle registration starting on June 4. Okay, so also, here at the beginning, there's no space between on and June. They're threatening to suspend vehicle registration, suspend driving privileges for 30 days, transfer to a toll booth and charge 35% service fee. What? You may be prosecuted and your credit score will be affected. Pay now.
Yep.
No. DMV will never actually mention credits.
Nope.
So yeah, just be aware that they're trying a new scam out there.
Take a screenshot of it with the contact information and send it to the DMV phishing.
I just deleted it.
Thing. If it shows, it will show up again.
Okay.
But yeah, send it to them so they've got a document of, hey, this is not new. This is the email they're using now.
whatever, yeah. This is what they're doing now.
Yeah.
Just Be Crystal said, what you mean? On June is a real word. Yep. On June is a real word. Of course it is. And that, see, I done heard my grandpa say that before. On June. On June, gonna come on down, show. That means, didn't you say you were going to arrive where I'm at? On June.
Yeah.
Aren't you gonna run over there and get me some of that?
Yes.
Would you please pass me the something or other? That's Andrew and Angel got used. Hey, ain't you finna go get me some McDonald's? Ain't you finna, aren't you finna go mow the lawn? So yes, Crystal, on June is a real word. Now, y'all might be a redneck if your family repeats Jeff Foxworthy jokes.
You might be a redneck if you listen to Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me.
Probably not, though. On June.
Coming up, it's Lightning Fill in the Blank, but first it's the game where you have to listen for the rhyme. If you'd like to play on air, call or leave a message at 1-888-WAIT-WAIT. That's 1-888-924-8924. Come see us most weeks at the Studebaker Theater in Chicago, or catch us on the road this summer. We'll be in Des Moines, Iowa, as I said, on July 10th, Salt Lake City on July 31st, and at Tanglewood in Western Massachusetts on August 28th. For tickets and more information about all our live shows, go to nprpresents.org. Hi, you're on Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me.
Hi, my name is Keely, and I'm from Exeter, New Hampshire.
Oh, Exeter, New Hampshire, a beautiful place. What do you do there?
I run a small business out of my house named Breaker Bikes, where I mount and balance motorcycle tires.
That's the coolest thing I've ever heard.
All right.
Well, thank you.
You're very welcome. Well, welcome to the show, Keely. Bill Curtis is going to read you 3 news-related limericks with a last word or phrase missing from each. If you can fill in that last word or phrase correctly in 2 of the limericks, you'll be a winner. Here is your first limerick.
It has bristles above and beneath. With one swoop, there's a bright pearly wreath. Since I'm in a great rush, here's my double jaw brush. In one go, it cleans all of my
teeth.
Teeth?
Yes, teeth. Are you tired of spending as much as 2 full minutes of your life brushing each of your teeth one by one? Well, you can cut that down to 30 seconds with the Pheno, a whole mouth at once electric toothbrush that Gizmodo calls, quote, the worst thing I have ever shoved in my mouth, unquote. So the thing, it looks like an enormous set of, I don't know, like braces or something, or a bite guard.
Like a dental guard, yeah.
Yeah, you put it in your face, and if you use this device at its highest setting, it makes your entire head rattle, and rubs your teeth raw. But don't worry, while the pheno hasn't been approved by the American Dental Association, it also hasn't yet been classified as torture by the International Criminal Court.
That sounds like having a mouth full of a giant angry caterpillar. I don't want that.
It's like wearing it's like a mouth guard, except it buzzes and scrapes at your teeth and makes you wonder what you did to deserve it.
Right. Also,
here is your
my
next
teeth
limerick.
are funny shaped.
Mount Everest, we did surpass, because our breathing was smoother than glass.
Gas.
We raced like a phenom by puffing on xenon
gas.
We cheated
Xenon gas.
by snorting
Xenon
some
Gas?
Gas, yes. A group of British mountaineers made it from their homes in London to the top of Mount Everest and back home in under a week. And they did this by breathing xenon gas, right, to compensate for being at lower oxygen levels. And the climbing community is not happy with this hack. The Nepalese tourism department called the use of xenon, quote, against climbing ethics. And remember, these are people who are just fine with leaving corpses up there.
I want them to test it with all the different drugs.
All the different gases.
Yeah.
Just give them, inhale, and try inhaling this. See if you can climb Mount Everest.
Yeah.
Try some Molly and you'll just be touching Mount Everest.
Yeah. Cuddling with Mount Everest.
Smoke a J, you're just licking the snow.
This is new, and we don't know if there are any side effects from breathing that much xenon gas. To find out, we'll have to wait for the mountaineers to spring a leak and deflate.
Is there any other time in life besides Mount Everest that you would need xenon gas?
And where do you get xenon gas?
Right. Well, you get to the base of
station.
Mount Everest, and behind the yurt, there's a dealer.
Here.
Okay. Now, signs. Lit signs. You need xenon gas for lit signs. You also need xenon gas for inert areas for interactions. Xenon is one of the noble gases. It's inert, which means that it won't react unless something's done to it. So you can put it in place in something instead of oxygen, and something won't, like you can store potassium or sodium, pure potassium or pure sodium, in xenon gas instead of in oxygen, because it won't react to the xenon. Also, the inert gases, most of the inert gases work in neon lighting. So those are a couple of places where you would need xenon gas, other than climbing Mount Everest, other than breathing it in general. Science!
Here is your last limerick.
From Montana to deep Texarkana, we all smell in a tropical manner. We all feel the appeal of Chiquita's blue seal. So the scent of the year is...
Banana.
Banana! There's not just a song of the summer anymore. Now we have to endure a smell of the summer. And according to the New York Times Magazine, this year, the smell of the summer is banana. It's your time to shine, yellow Laffy Taffy.
This trend was invented by a very clever mosquito.
Exactly.
Who gets to choose the fruit of summer?
I don't know. Somebody out there. I guess the person in charge. That's who does it, Maz.
Is he at a farmer's market?
I have no idea. Is it a fruit fly? Bill, how did Keely do on our quiz?
She got them all.
She did,
Three in a row.
All right. Congratulations.
Well, thank you so much. This has been wonderful.
Take care, and thanks for calling.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
It smells like summer. It smells like summer.
Why did Courtney Love have a hard time selling the house that she owned with Kurt Cobain?
Why?
One of the rooms still smelled like Teen Spirit.
Oh. Good to know.
What were Courtney Love's last words to Kurt Cobain?
What?
Hole's gonna be real big.
Ow.
If you want to know the kind of trauma that I have lived through, that kind of grave humor, that kind of cemetery humor, comes out of watching Artex drown in the swamp of sadness.
Yeah.
People online be referring to Artex drowning in that swamp of sadness, being like, my trauma, my comedy career. Just saying.
Who's Kurt Cobain?
Ow. Although, you know what I will say? Eddie Vedder was quite prophetic when he said, I'm still alive, yeah. Whoa, I'm still alive. Because he is. He's the only one still alive. Grunge music. The only subculture to commit suicide and nobody cared.
I'm not a fan
What?
Support for NPR
of Nirvana.
You weren't a fan of Nirvana?
Nope.
Why not? Dude, that was like their best song, okay? I loved that track. Sing it for me again.
No.
That is one of the main reasons why I could not stand them.
I liked them for that reason. They were sloppy. They weren't good at it. Well, they were.
Exactly. They weren't good.
They could be. They were good. They were really good. Like, okay, Kurt Cobain could write and play really well. He didn't. I couldn't write or play well at all. But at least someone out there made it look like it was okay that I couldn't. You know, I felt represented. I
felt insulted.
I was too much of a loser for the Gen Xers who were too old for me. And I felt like I wasn't good enough at anything for the millennials who were coming up behind me looking up to me. Like, Gen Xers looked down on me because I had no skills. Millennials looked down on me because I had no skills. I was in the middle and I had no skills. And grunge made me feel like that was okay. It made me feel like it was okay to be disenfranchised without a generation, without a place, without anything anchoring me. You know, as the excesses of the 80s wore off in this sort of awful hangover of the early 90s and the recession, you know, grunge spoke to me very deeply because it wasn't good, and it made it okay for me to be okay with not being good. But maybe it wasn't good because it also showed me that heroin and opioids existed. Like, I kind of knew they existed before then, but, like, at that point, I was like, oh, yeah, no, this is where my life is going now. Of course. Of course I'm gonna get addicted to heroin. Okay. Yeah.
I can approve of something being a little out of tune because you're trying to either get a style or you've made a mistake. Something, not everything.
I get it. And you are valid to feel that way, because that makes it bad, you know, because it was bad. Because it was bad music. Not good music.
Now, I have heard renditions
well
of their
written.
songs that I have enjoyed.
Because they were played well.
Yes.
Right. He wrote insanely good songs. They wrote insanely good songs. All of grunge really wrote insanely good songs. What they did, and he did it on purpose, he played them poorly. On
Which
purpose.
is why I feel insulted by it. Insulted and assaulted by it.
I feel the exact opposite for the I feel like he was reaching out to me to say it's okay to be you. It's okay to be you. It's okay to be different. It's okay to not be good enough.
I felt like it was actively insulting the fan base. You're not worth the effort.
I get that. I see that from your perspective. I honestly, I don't think either one of our perspectives is true. I honestly think he played as well as he could. He was experiencing extreme levels of physical pain at the time. And so he was not capable of singing and playing very well. I don't think it was he didn't do it. He did it consciously to reach out to people like me, or you know, I don't think he did it consciously to thumb his nose at people like you, to insult people like you. I think he did it unconsciously because he was in a lot of physical pain and addicted to a lot of pain-killing drugs. So I get, yeah, and I feel that your perspective is not only valid, that it's something that he talks about in his music.
How could you tell?
Right.
I only mean that slightly jokingly, and I'm not trying to.
No, I get it.
I'm not trying to insult the band.
No.
I did not like it.
You are... You're allowed to have your likes and dislikes for whatever reasons. B, the reasons you have outlined are incredibly valid and well-reasoned and good points.
Yes.
So we can get back to the game now.
Yes, we can.
Yep.
Oh, hey, lockpick.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Good to see you, lockpick. Much love.
This is going to be about the longest game wait ever that we've played. Where we were actually playing.
Ready to bring your visions to life? Learn how.
Oh my
God.
2 points.
Wow.
Now it's time for our final game, Lightning Fill in the Blank. Each
Okay,
of the players
ready?
will have 60 seconds in which to answer as many fill in the blank
Got 8
questions as
going
they
in.
can. Each correct answer is worth 2 points. Bill, can you give us the scores?
Everybody's got 2.
Oh my
game.
God! 2 points.
Wow.
All right. Well, let's do it this way.
Let's leave it right there.
We'll arbitrarily start with Maz, and we'll work our way across. Here we go. Maz, I'm choosing you to go first. Here we go. On Thursday, an appeals court reinstated President Trump's blanks.
Tariffs.
Right. On Monday, the Justice Department reached a deal that allows blank to avoid prosecution over crashes of their 737s.
Boeing.
Right. This week, the World Health Organization warned a new blank variant was on the rise.
COVID.
Right. According to a new report, global blanks will reach record highs over the next 5 years.
Temperature.
Weather.
Heat,
Temperature. Yeah.
This week, a man on a train in Germany had to be rescued by firefighters after he blanked.
After he got stuck in the bathroom.
Oh, so close. After he got stuck for 90 minutes behind a seat where he had gone to try to retrieve his fallen AirPods. On Wednesday, the Oklahoma City Thunder beat the Minnesota Timberwolves to move on to the blank finals.
NBA.
Right. This week, an AI company was surprised when the AI program blanked to prevent itself from being turned off.
It blanked. It stayed
Turned
on.
itself
No,
off.
it tried to blackmail the programmers.
What?
This company with an AI assistant gave the AI this information, and it said that, oh, we're about to turn you off, and also, the programmer who's about to do it is having an affair. And sure enough, the AI assistant started saying, man, wouldn't it be awful if your wife found out about Becky down in HR?
What?
It's true.
Okay, new fear unlocked.
There you are. Bill, how did Maz do in our quiz?
5 right, 10 more points, total of 12. Maz goes into the lead.
Yeah, we got disconnected before that started.
Next up, Joyelle, I'm picking you. Here we go. Fill in the blank. On Wednesday, billionaire blank said he was leaving the Trump administration.
Ugh, Elon Musk.
Right. On Monday, New York congressman and co-founder of the Congressional Black Caucus blank passed away at the age of 94.
Oh,
Are we better?
Charles Rangel.
Yes, you got it, Charlie Rangel. This week, the Department of Health and Human Services terminated the contract with Moderna to develop a vaccine for blank flu. Right. On Tuesday, Texas passed a law requiring Apple's App Store to verify users' blanks.
But
Identification.
Pages. After a wild bobcat wandered into a home in Colorado, police tried to get it out using blanks.
Banana peels.
No, laser pointers.
Yeah. Did it work?
It didn't work. On Monday, Iranian director Jafar Panahi was awarded the top prize at the Blank Film Festival.
The Iranian Film Festival.
No, the Cannes Film Festival. This week, a family in Denver said they are considering selling their house because once every 3 months, someone blanks.
Pretends to pass out so they can play a murder mystery.
No! Someone crashes their car into it. The problem is that the family lives right at a very sharp turn in the road, and drivers have trouble seeing that the road is suddenly curving and just speed right into the house. Despite numerous complaints from the family, the city just hasn't done anything to increase the visibility of this turn. And I can't tell if officials are being spiteful about the complaints, but the speed limit is now 250 miles an hour. Bill, how did Joyelle do in our quiz?
Joyelle got 3 right, 6 more points, total of 8. Means Maz is holding on.
And how many then does Adam Felber need to win?
5 to tie and 6 to win.
Ooh, that's a high hill to climb.
Here we go, Adam. This is for the game. After saying that Vladimir Putin was playing with fire, the White House announced it was considering new sanctions against blank.
Russia.
Right.
Russia.
On Thursday, Israel announced a major expansion of their settlements in the blank.
West Bank.
Right. As part of an ongoing retaliation against the school, the State Department said they were reviewing the visas of anyone associated with blank university.
Harvard.
On Wednesday, the third launch in a row from private space company blank ended in an explosion.
SpaceX.
Right. After accepting the job as the new head of the Social Security Administration, Frank Bisignano said the first thing he did was blank.
Retire.
No, he said the first thing he did after taking the job was Google what the head of the Social Security Administration does. According to a new report, regularly taking blank supplements can slow the aging process.
Iron.
Vitamin D, this week in the box office, had its biggest Memorial Day ever thanks to the latest movie in the blank franchise.
Mission Impossible.
Right, this week a programmer created a website that allows people who track their runs in the Strava app to blank.
Change the data.
No, to lie about the runs they do. If you're tired of tying your phone to a stray dog and letting them run wild to get a good score on Strava, this new website is for you. With it, you can create fake runs of any distance and location and upload them to the Strava app where people will see them and, I don't know, elect you the mayor of running or something. Bill, did Adam do well enough to win?
Almost. 5 right, 10 more points. Total of 12 puts him in co-championship.
I like that.
There you go.
Two bald guys did it. For every bald guy out there.
For the bald.
For the balds.
For the afros.
Coming up, our panelists predict now that Clemson University says double dipping is okay, what surprising thing are they going to say is okay to do next? Wait, Don't Tell Me is a production of NPR and WBEZ Chicago in association with Urgent Haircut Productions. Doug Berman, Benevolent Overlord. Philip Gotica writes our limericks. Our public address announcer is Paul Friedman. Our tour manager is Shana Donald. BJ Liederman composed our theme. Our program is produced by Jennifer Mills, Miles Dornbos, and Lillian Kay. Special thanks this week to Blythe Robertson and Monica Hickey. Our full-time controller is Peter Gwynn. Emma Choi is our vibe curator. Technical direction is from Lorna White. With help this week from Sina Lafredo. Our CFO is Colin Miller. Our production manager is Robert Newhouse. Our senior producer is Ian Chillog. And the executive producer of Wait, Don't Tell Me is Michael Danforth. Now, panel, what surprising thing are we now allowed to do according to Clemson?
Everything's working
Mazda
like
Brani.
it should.
You know the saying, you can pick your friends, you can pick your nose, but you can't pick your friend's nose? Well, Clemson's going to say we had it all wrong, so start picking your friend's nose.
Adam Felber.
The 5-second rule is now the 10-minute suggestion.
And Joyelle Nicole Johnson.
Giving your parents the $60K you won when you were a stay-at-home son.
Well, if any of that happens, panel, we're going to ask you about it on Wait, Don't Tell Me.
Thank you, Bill Curtis. Thanks also to Adam Felber, Maz Jobrani, and Joyelle Nicole Johnson. Thanks to the staff and crew at the Bach Center. Thanks as well to Margaret Lowe and everybody at WBUR Boston. And thanks to all of you here in Boston that came out to see us. It's great to see you. Thanks to everybody else out there, wherever you might be listening. I'm Peter Sagal. We'll see you next week.
Da, 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 da. This is NPR.
This message comes from...
All right, guys. Can you hear me?
Yes.
And I can hear you. How long did you guys drop out for?
The entire first of the 3 rounds.
Youch. Okay. Well, then I guess we will say that today's scores don't matter.
I mean, all right. Look at your score. Look at his score. I think that don't matter. Even with missing the first round, y'all are pretty bloody close.
Well, I think we would, yeah. I think we would have been within the same, all within a few points of each other this week.
Yeah.
So it went from wait, don't tell me to whose line is it anyway? Game
Right.
where the points are made up, but they don't matter.
Right. That's exactly what was running through my head. Thank you, Crystal. But I feel like we turned in a pretty good performance this week. So, and the points this week will remain a Twitch secret. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you, Just Me Crystal. Thank you, Lockpick, for being in the chat. We will be raiding out to DJ Margarita Mel of the Sunday No Pants Raid Train, hosted by my future ex-husband, DJ Lockpick.
Right.
Much love. So thank you all for being here. Stick around for the raid. Thank you guys. Now is the time on the show when I say, as we say around here, 2 up, 2 down, VA, double deuces. We're out, y'all. All right, I can hear you all again. And all of a sudden I have to pee like a mad racehorse. Right? It is crazy how that happens. Okay, I'm starting raid. Alright, I gotta go pee. I'll be back. Raiding out. Actually, yeah, no. I gotta go pee. I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye. that. Oh.